Hello, viewers. Welcome to another episode of SADF podcast on South Asia. And today we will discuss on freedom of Balochistan and what it means for South Asia. So we have with us Mr. Mehran Marri, the representative of Balochistan to the UNHCR and a spokesperson for Baloch people. And hello, Mr. Mehran.
Hello, sir.
First of all, tell us about the history of Balochistan.
Mr. Tabata, if I start with the history, probably it's going to be quite boring for the listeners, but I think most people know when you talk of Pakistan, it all reveals a big mess uh, when the partition of India happened and the two-nation theory was implemented. And Balochistan is one of those victims of the two-nation theory and the partition of India. So 1948, on the 27th of March, we were actually occupied by Pakistan. But we gained our independence on the 11th of August 1947. And I think Pakistan was created on the 14th and India got its independence on the 15th.
Right.
So we were one of the first people to get our independence declared from Britain. And then after 9 months of independence, we had our own parliaments, the upper and lower houses. Jinnah was our representative. Actually, he struck the deal with the British government for our sovereignty and our independence.
Right.
And unfortunately, then he turned against us when he got a bit too ambitious, and then he tried to do some arm twisting and force the Baloch to join on the basis of religion. And the upper and lower houses categorically rejected joining Pakistan and making a union. And they said, we'll be great neighbors, but we don't want to merge. And then Jinnah unleashed the martial race, as they call it, the Punjabi Muslim Pakistani Fauj, or the army, which was there. And then they unleashed the army and occupied Balochistan. And the tale of oppression, subjugation, human rights violation, you name it. I mean, as a colony of Punjabi Pakistan, you know very well, coming from Bangladesh, how ruthless these people are. And
Absolutely.
first and foremost,
We have the
yeah,
common history
yeah,
and with Pakistan and common design of discrimination.
yeah. I
So
mean,
yeah, please carry
absolutely. I mean, nobody knows better than yourself
on. Hmm.
the extent and lengths of uh, lack of human dignity the Punjabi Muslim Pakistanis can fall to. And they very much portrayed it in 1971 that they can really, they are monsters of another dimension.
Hmm.
Frankenstein's is the correct word for them.
Hmm.
And Frankenstein in all true meaning, because whoever created them is biting them now, which is the Western powers. All terrorism, most terrorism,
Hmm.
7/7, 9/11, Mumbai, you name it around the world. It
Hmm.
all traces back to
To
Rawalpindi and Punjab in
Mhm.
Pakistan. The
Right.
military generals are behind it.
Yeah.
And I think now, fast forwarding again, so this
Hmm.
violation has taken place throughout our occupation. But after Bangladesh's independence in 1971,
Hmm.
obviously the Napak army, as I call it, because there's nothing Pak about them, the Napak army was very bruised and battered and humiliated when
Right.
they had to surrender. 90,000 armed men in uniform surrendered in front of General Arora.
Right.
General Niazi of Napak army had to surrender.
Hmm.
And it was a big humiliation for them. And then they had to get a boost. They had to get a morale boost. Otherwise, I mean, Pakistan was broken anyway. So people say, oh, you guys are planning or you want Pakistan to break. Pakistan broke in 71.
Right.
There's nothing left. Now it's only Punjabistan. There's
Hmm.
Punjabistan and the rest are colonies.
Right.
Then what they did, they embarked on a very brutal military operation in Balochistan in 1973, which went on till 1979 under the guidance and the supervision of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, who was a bigger butcher of Balochistan than Musharraf, in my opinion.
Okay.
And the Punjabis put him forward because he was of a Sindhi origin. So it just diverted the blame a bit off the Punjabis. But unfortunately, as we've seen, especially Sindhis. Pashtun leadership as well in the past, but they have really refrained and they've really evolved and they've learned their lesson, especially with the PTM, Pashtun Tahfuz movement,
Hmm.
Manzoor Pashtun, uh, Mohsin Daur, these kind of credible figures have come out who are talking Pashtun rights, and they do recognize Punjab's connivance in this so-called Pakistan. Coming back to the Bhuttos, Bhutto used to say, I think it was Bhutto's word, he goes, a good Marri is a dead Marri. I'm from the Marri tribe, and his slogan was, a good Marri is a dead Marri. He killed thousands of Marris.
Right.
And then he was hung, rightfully so, by the same generals that he tried to please,
Hmm.
was Ziaul Haq.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, that legacy continues. I mean, that day I was giving an interview and I said, now, Mullah Munir, Tasim Munir, the new general over there, he's very much a protege of General Ziaul Haq. More mullah, less military. I mean, we say mullah, MMA, mullah, military alliance. This
Hmm.
is all in one. This is one biryani, the one pot where is mullah, military, everything in one. So first it was Ziaul Haq and now it's Mullah Munir.
Hmm.
And you can see the Sindhi leadership in Sindh, as Bilawal Bhutto, Zardari, whatever he, unidentified, whatever he is, but obviously his mother was Bhutto.
Hmm.
He is at the forefront of providing service and cover to the Mullah Munir. Whatever genocide he's committing, whatever violations he's committing, whatever policies he's implementing by this fake parliament or whatever through parliamentary decrees,
Hmm.
they're endorsing it. And Zardari Bhutto is at the forefront of it. Once again, his mother was killed, his grandfather was killed, two of his uncles were killed.
Hmm.
But, they're
They're
shameless,
soft.
shameless people. They still serve the military generals that totally annihilated his family.
Okay.
And that's the shameful history of Pakistan. And Balochistan, I hope, is in a much better place now than we were, say, 20 years ago. We see the independence far closer now than we ever had.
So, when you were talking about independence, so what is happening at Balochistan right now regarding independence?
Uh, the the latest, those five uprisings, you can call it, or uprisings against occupation of Pakistan and Balochistan, but the latest one started more or less around 2005 when Nawab Akbar Khan Bukti, one of our greatest leaders,
Hmm.
was attacked, and Musharraf tried to assassinate him. And after that, when he was assassinated in 2006, war broke out,
Hmm.
and Pakistani army was heavily targeted by Baloch fighters in general. And I think this is the conclusive war of independence. And this time we see it in the last 3-4 years. The dynamics of the war have taken a direction where not only the Baloch fighters have really intensified and evolved, but the Napak state has weakened and has been exposed to the region and the world. And especially America was a great backer. European Union, Britain was a great backer of Pakistan. But unfortunately or fortunately, they have fallen in the lap of China now, whereby automatically it creates uh, uh, some kind of friction between Pakistan and the Western world and the US.
Right.
So yes, we therefore we see it in the foreseeable future. Our independence is on the horizon.
Right now, I want to ask you that there are multiple charter of independence I have found online when I was preparing for the podcast. So, what are the common ingredients of the Charter of Independence for Balochistan?
See, there has been no declared Charter of Independence. Like I think in South Africa, they had a Charter of Independence. I think once there's going to be consensus by the Baloch stakeholders, the
Mhm.
leadership, on what the charter should hold. I don't think, in my opinion, a charter should be a totally complicated document where
Right.
neither the Baloch nor the world can understand. It
Mhm.
should be 10 points, very simple. It's a charter or declaration of independence, or what
Right.
the basis of the new state or Republic of Balochistan would be. And there is no formal charter yet, but I am very hopeful that the leadership will come to some kind of a consensus
Mhm.
and put forward the points that would form the charter.
Right. So you were talking about discrimination, and when I was researching our South Asia Democratic Forum's research contents on Balochistan, I came to this term called shimmering situation in Balochistan. What how I mean, as a Bangladeshi, I understand what is discrimination back in 1971. Before that, they were taking our raw materials, our assets in Pakistan for industrialization, and then they were selling the same thing to us in a very higher price. And then there was famine in Bangladesh. They didn't care. There was no job, nothing. That is what was happening over there. And what is happening in Balochistan?
So absolutely, they're duplicating and replicating what they did in Bangladesh in Balochistan right now. As you're saying about the raw material resources, can you imagine Sui gas comes from Sui in Balochistan and is sold to factories in Punjab
Hmm.
at 1/50th of the price,
Right.
and it is sold in Quetta, the capital of Balochistan, for 10 times over what they're getting. I mean, it's crazy. First of all, in Balochistan, most places don't have gas. Wherever they have, the prices are totally hiked up and artificially inflated. So that is the blueprint. It's exactly the same blueprint as they practiced in Bangladesh, and they're doing the same in Balochistan. But now we have a very dangerous partner in this whole toxic mix, China.
Okay.
China, as you know, it's a ruthless capitalism. I mean,
Right.
in fact, it is a ruthless capitalism,
Hmm.
and it has no boundaries in order to achieve its capitalistic goals in the region or in the world. It is. It would go to any lengths, and we have seen that this toxic partnership of China and Pakistan together has been seriously detrimental to the Baloch nation. Our resources are being exponentially exploited. Mining is on 24 hours.
Hmm.
I mean, theft and plunder is of different dynamics that because China has a technology to steal at a very, very rapid speed. And that's what they're doing. All
Right.
the CPAC thing is more of a listening post. It's a military base. CPAC is not really so much for the route. That's how they decoy. The real plunder and the stealing is happening behind the scenes, which people don't talk about, be it Sandak, be it our gold, be it uranium, be it our rare minerals, all that is being stolen. And Punjabi, Pakistani generals are they're petty people. They're very small people.
Hmm.
They come from no backgrounds. They say normally countries have an army. Here, an army has a country. So these poor paupers have never imagined their grandfathers were probably menial workers in India. They have got a country. They live like Gulf sheikhs. So, they're not bothered.
Hmm.
They're selling everything at minimal prices because it's not theirs. It's Balochistan's wealth.
Right.
They know it. They're going to run. They're going to move to Australia, Canada, or wherever the hell they get the passports and the properties in the Middle Eastern countries. So, yeah, that's the state of affairs. It's quite scary and quite dangerous, but it had to come to a conclusion at one point or another. Many people used to say, "Oh, but how do you think Baloch can get their independence from this seventh largest army?" If witnessed the breaking of USSR with my own eyes, if USSR can break, Pakistan is a little beggar. It's got a begging ball. I mean, like, it's a matter of days. I think if Operation Sindoor was just pushed for a couple more weeks,
Hmm.
that diesel would finish. The planes and tanks wouldn't move. They wouldn't have fuel for their vehicles.
Okay, I understand that. But uh, what is this kill and dump policy regarding human rights concerns? They are using it in Balochistan, the Pakistanis. So, what are you going to say about this kill and dump policy?
Kill and dump policy was adopted by Musharraf.
Hmm.
It was in his time that they started this kill and dump policy just to inflict fear and entrench fear in the public. They realized that the Baloch youth were not the youth of the 70s or the 60s or the 50s. They're moving forward with time. We're evolving as well. They're far more vigilant. They're far more aware of what's going on, and they cannot be corrupted by madrasas and growing your long beards and looking like a clown and just saying we're all Muslims, so we all belong together. That rubbish is not going to sell anymore. It never
Right.
sold to us anyway. This was tuna they were selling in Punjab and maybe in Sindh. Baloch are secular people. Religion is between us and God. our state affairs and our country will not be run on the basis of religion. It's a personal matter, and that's where it should remain.
Right. Absolutely right. But what is the in general human rights situation? I mean, it can. Do you enjoy freedom of expression, freedom of association in Balochistan?
Absolutely not. So the most recent case is the Baloch Yakjati Committee.
Hmm.
It's mainly led by Baloch youth, mainly by Baloch female youth, educated doctors, Dr. Maran Baloch,
Yes.
Samidin.
Hmm.
These are intellectuals, young ladies who are at the forefront, and they have bore the brunt of now Pakistan's military oppression. Their family members, their fathers, their brothers have been killed and dumped. So
Yeah.
these are that generation, and they're intellectually very, very connected and very balanced and stable thinkers. They see what's going on, and they realize the ruthlessness of this Napak army and the intelligence agency. So therefore, they're treading the ground with great caution.
Hmm.
They're protesting within this fake 73 constitution of Pakistan.
Hmm.
They're abiding by the all fake laws that they are there, so as not to give them an excuse to kill and dump them.
Right.
Still, where are they? They're in prison. They're in prison right now. When they try to protest, they say you are terrorists. There's
Yeah.
no freedom of expression. There's no freedom of assembly. I mean, we are a colony of Punjabistan.
Yeah.
We cannot even wear our clothes. People are mocked and mockery is made. I have seen on national television, they make fun of our black Baluch people, of our Makranis.
Mm.
On national television, I made a statement into the United Nations. This is racism in the 21st century. They should be ashamed of themselves. These people should be put behind bars. They're making fun of their curly hair, of their brown skin.
They're
This is the
dehumanizing. They're dehumanizing Baluchi
they're
people.
dehumanizing us. Exactly what they did in Bangladesh. They
Right.
said, "Oh, they're too short to qualify to be in the army."
Hmm.
How dare they? I mean, how dare they even say these things?
Right.
Let alone actually practice it. They do practice it. And that's why I say Bangladesh knows this firsthand. So you could really empathize with us because you've seen it.
Yeah, definitely. Bangladesh should empathize. And I don't know, like, if I'm being honest, that the new government under Dr. Yunus, how much they will be empathizing with the Balochistan call for independence, because, they are actually inventing the relationship with Pakistan. They are, I
It's
mean,
very sad.
very sad. They are renegotiating all the agreements with Pakistan and giving our Chittagong port for use of Pakistani material to get into Bangladesh unchecked. Previously, under Sheikh Hasina, there was this policy that anything coming from Pakistan has to be checked carefully. But he just deleted that policy. And now anything and everything is coming into Bangladesh. And some Indian think tanks are saying that probably Pakistan is using Bangladesh to raise some sort of intolerance in Seven Sisters.
I totally agree with you, sir. And I think because the Taliban or the Afghanistan regime, the Afghan regime throughout, be it Taliban or somebody else, they have realized that Napaki Pakistan is a rogue regime and it always loves to colonize its neighbors.
Right.
So it failed in Afghanistan. The Taliban have seen the true face of this devil. So now the Taliban are on the same page as India, as Balochistan, as America when it comes to Pakistan. They
Right.
use the Taliban name. Now they are trying to, through connivance, cheat the Bengalis again to do
Mhm.
that dirty work, or at
Absolutely,
least
I agree.
use Bangladesh as a springboard for their international terrorism.
Yes, I agree, and I have this concern within myself as well. I'm going to say to our audience that Balochistan is the biggest province of Pakistan. As per Pakistan data, they claim that this is the biggest province because they have the border with Iran, they have border with Afghanistan, and they have most of the assets and resources that Pakistan claim to be theirs, if I'm not wrong. And also, important seaports are there, which is a gateway to international business and commerce into Pakistan. So, Balochistan is a self independent country which has a rich culture, a secular people, who don't want to be ruled. They have their right to be self-determined. So
Absolutely.
yeah, now getting into the situation of your relationship with Iran, China, and Afghanistan. They are one of the crucial geopolitical partners who wants to go ahead with demand of independence. So what is their reaction? What are they saying?
Sir, let's see
And
the
also
case of.
India. Let's not
Sure.
forget India as well. Yes, please.
Yeah. Let's look back at the case of Bangladesh. So I said we have the total blueprint of what's should be done in Balochistan because it happened in the case of Bangladesh. And India was at the forefront of negotiating the terms, the conditions. And Indira Gandhi went to all the big powers at that time. I think we can see in the case of Bangladesh when India took the initiative for the independence of Balochistan at the Bangladesh, and it took it to the international forums. Of course, the United States objected, but Indira
Mhm.
Gandhi still did not stop. It went to all the powers, and I think the final push was when the USSR backed Indira Gandhi in the case of uh, how do we say registering Bangladesh as an independent nation, nothing to do with Pakistan. I was watching a program of some experts saying this thing. So there's a lot of legal. So you're a barrister, you must know much better than me. There's a legal formality and a legal roadmap of how you achieve or
Right.
get a
Yes.
country's recognition. And I'm
Mhm.
not too familiar with that, but all I know that it has to be if you go the UN route, it has to go through the Security Council. And if
Yes.
it's a Security Council, then all the 5 member states, permanent members, have to agree. If one country vetoes, which in our case most likely China would veto,
Right.
then it's like a stalemate. But that does not mean that Balochistan cannot declare its independence. But it's only that will not be part of the Security Council.
Hmm.
East Timor, South Sudan, and especially Taiwan. Taiwan still is not recognized by the United Nations because, of course, China vetoes it. But still, Taiwan is almost as sovereign as any country can be in its internal and external affairs. Uh, how we would deal it? So your question was Iran, China. We can work it out. We are not now Pakistan. Our aim is not to be a rogue in this region. Our aim is we don't want to be born on the basis of hatred. We've seen a country made on the basis of hatred called Na Pakistan, and we've seen how it is. It's a fire which will consume you as well. This is a fire that does not spare anybody, and this region does not need another hell. We've seen it. It burnt the Bengalis, it burned the Baloch, it's burned the Pashtun, it's burned the Sindhis, and it is even burning the common Punjabis. So this cancer has to be uprooted, destroyed, and you have to get rid of it.
Right.
Moving forward, I think building bridges is the way forward. European Union can operate, we can operate.
Okay.
Iran, Balochistan, India, Bangladesh, Nepal, all these countries in the region, we can have our own very strong union.
Hmm.
We could even extend the union to the Middle East.
Right.
The Baloch have but our origins, a lot of us come from the Middle East. We have
Mhm.
very good relations with Oman, with UAE. We have a lot of roots, a lot of similarities.
Right.
So we can connect. We can really be a bridge. Unfortunately, now Pakistan has spread its tentacles and its roots all around the world and in the region on the basis of its occupation of Balochistan, because we say the viability of now Pakistan is Balochistan. You get the Balochistan out to that map. I would love to see which Chinese government or which American administration or which European Union would give a penny to this country.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
very interesting
It's
conclusion.
only the viability is us.
Hmm. What is the reaction of European Union you were mentioning? Are they? I know you have, for example, you personally faced this trouble with some of when you were traveling to some
Yes.
of the European countries. Even I have seen that Pakistani online activists, they have put your name on Wikipedia in such a way that it questions any border customs authority when they let you in. I mean, that being apart, but what is the common reaction of European Union?
See, a very beautiful development, interesting development in recent years has been, since the occupation or the war of Russia and Ukraine, Now, Pakistan, being what it is, it can't lose its habit. It is always trying to capitalize off any kind of mess or any kind of situation. So it was trying to like cushion up with Russia a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a couple of resolutions that were being put forward, I think, in Europe or Security Council. I wasn't too sure. This is about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they abstained in a few, and some of them they favored Russia. And so the EU was not happy at all with them.
Right.
So that's why I always say, unfortunately, this is an illegitimate child. It really has no father. It has no loyalty or blood DNA connection to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we say Pakistan is not a country. It's an acronym, as Tariq Fatah used to say. It's not a nation. It has no roots. It has no identity. Therefore, it doesn't need to conduct itself in any kind of a dignified manner
Mm-hmm.
because it came from thin air. It'll go in thin air. Simple.
Yeah, that is right. But I wanted a clear comment from you that where European Union stands with this. Because, European Union and the Trump administration, what they want with Balochistan?
Very good point. As soon as Trump decides what he wants with Balochistan, the European Union will follow suit. That's always been the case.
Okay.
Even Ukraine, I think, because Trump and Putin they have their own some kind of a connection or
Mm-hmm.
an understanding. That's the reason Trump European Union is not happy. But I would love to see the European Union make one decision against the wishes of Trump or the US. They will not. They
Mm-hmm.
depend on the US. If it wasn't for the US, I think Russia will have the whole of Europe for breakfast. I mean, we all know that. So they need America as their friend, and therefore they have to listen to America. And I'm very happy that that's the case because I think American sentiments towards Balochistan are changing
Mm-hmm.
since 2012. A Californian congressman, Donald Rohrabacher, if I can't not pronounce his name wrong, he first raised the issue of Balochistan and the human rights violations in the American Congress, and then he presented a map of an independent Balochistan, which really aggravated the Napaki establishment.
Mm-hmm.
But they couldn't say much because it was an American congressman. And now that map is resurfacing again in a slightly broader manner. So I think the 20 years that America was somehow enticed in after 9/11 in Afghanistan, Pakistan really capitalized on that misery of the Americans with the 9/11 incident, as it always does. It capitalized absolutely. First time when there was the Russian presence in Afghanistan, it really sucked the blood out of the US. And now,
Mm-hmm.
second time after 9/11. So the Americans don't like this rogue nation either. They served for dirty purposes, but I think it's outlived this viability now. So they want to put it to rest as well. So I think
Yeah.
once America changes its line, everybody else will follow suit.
Okay. So coming back to human rights again, I do understand, and as you have also confirmed, that there is no freedom of expression, there is no freedom of association. Even one article on the Dawn, they mentioned Balochistan as a minefield for journalists. And I understand that thousands of human rights defenders are behind the bars and facing prosecution and persecution. So, how UN and other international human rights organizations are coming into play? Are you satisfied with the tasks they are doing?
See, United Nations as an organization has miserably failed the Baloch nation and the Baloch people. Although the working groups on enforced disappearances, working group on extrajudicial killings, working group on minorities, them in their own capacity with their special rapporteurs have been very, I mean, doing as much as they within the perimeters that they can do. But United Nations as an organization, especially the Human Rights Council, where I have represented for over 2 decades, has
Mhm,
miserably failed and disappointed the people of Balochistan and not fulfilled its legal obligations. It has played into the hands of countries like China and Pakistan. And this is
mhm,
solely on the reason because Switzerland, especially Geneva, where the Human Rights Council is, I think Zurich and the German part are a bit, they have a bit of spine. But the Geneva, my God, it's unbelievable. It's another Pakistan. It's a police state. I
Okay.
was banned for 10 years because I'm a security threat to them because I speak against China and Pakistan. And the billions of dollars worth of my stolen wealth goes to Swiss bank accounts through Chinese businessmen or government officials and mostly through Napaki generals. They put their black money, our stolen wealth, in Swiss accounts. And I was exposing all that. So therefore, they gave me a 10-year ban. The United Nations should be a country with a spine. It should be
Right.
in Germany, France, United Kingdom, a country with a spine, a country that can stand on its own feet, that will not get scared of China or Pakistan. I mean, it's a laughing matter.
Okay. So you want UN to work free of any kind of influence from China
Absolutely.
or Pakistan or, sorry,
Any country for that matter.
any country or vested quarters. I mean,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So, so we are getting to the very end. So now the question is, like, I'll ask two last questions. One is
Sure.
about how do you think that Balochistan's demand for independence will shape the regional peace and prosperity? What do you think about it?
I think it's going to be a blessing for regional peace and prosperity. We always look at the blueprint of UAE. Balochistan is very much like the UAE. It has its own emirates, different emirates. We all different tribes over there. Everybody consolidates, they sit, they discuss. It's mutually acceptable. Things are accepted with consensus. Things go forward. I've lived in the Emirates. It's probably much better than Europe in many ways. I mean, I won't go into the details, but there's
Hmm.
no conflict of interest. The country operates perfectly. It's prosperous for its own people and the wider world.
Right.
Therefore, I think Balochistan could follow suit of a country like Qatar or UAE,
Hmm.
where everybody is allowed to believe in what they believe in, as long as they do not cross certain boundaries, they do not offend others, and they don't make a circus out of a nation uh, on other nations' vested interests. So,
Hmm.
uh, yeah. And one point I'd like to say that India could expedite the process of an independent Balochistan, like it did in the case of Bangladesh, by highlighting the human rights violations or the extensive human rights violations which are being inflicted by the Napak army and its intelligence agencies on the Baloch civil population. I'm not saying the people who are fighting them, I'm saying the civil population. Every single man, woman, and child is not safe in Balochistan.
Hmm.
Every mother weeps when their child leaves the front door. They don't know if they're going to come back or not. There's tens of thousands of people who disappeared, tens of thousands of people in torture cells.
Hmm.
It's a serious humanitarian crisis, and serious crimes against humanity is taking place. They are no laughing matter. It's not. It's not as simplified as the sitting puppets in the Napak puppets in the Balochistan so-called circus parliament sit there and say, "Oh, it's a handful of people who prompting this whole sentiment of a liberated Balochistan." It's a very serious matter, and I think this would expedite our national uh, identity or our independence, the declaration of independence.
I think you actually have answered my last question as well, which I wanted to ask, that whether there is any possibility of a peaceful solution to this whole, uh, I mean, independence
There
demand
is,
of Balochistan, which is,
there is, there is. The Napak army should pack up its bags and leave and go to Punjab. That's as peaceful as it can be. Everybody
okay.
will be happy,
Yeah, that's what I think I said.
and,
Yeah, please.
they can take the Baloch stooges and traitors along with them.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mehran, once again,
Thank you,
sir,
Barrister.
for your time. And hopefully, we will again meet in the future to discuss more on Balochistan.
Thank you, Barrister. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So,